You're right in the middle of planning your perfect trip to Japan. Every video is recommending the Japan Rail Pass, that golden ticket to savings that unlocks almost every part of the country.
Hey, you've got it! You've got the last
JR.
ticket!
You go to order one online, but wait, what's this? A 77% price increase? How could it be? Instead of zooming across the country sampling Wagyu, you'll now be exclusively eating Family Mart ramen.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No, of course not.
I mean, it's fine if that's who you are.
Absolutely.
How could you, Japan? What was once unquestionably the biggest single factor in a cost-effective trip is now useless? Or is it? In this video, I'll show you what the JR Rail Pass price increase actually means and how to use regional passes to effectively pay the same price as before. Let's get into it. Starting from October 2023, the JR Rail Pass can now be bought for 7, 14, or 21 days and costs 50,000, 80,000, or 100,000 yen respectively for unlimited travel on JR lines, including all but the fastest of the Shinkansen bullet trains. The 2-week pass was the most popular for travelers visiting the Golden Triangle of Tokyo, Osaka, and Kyoto. And at the previous price of 47,000 yen, or $315 at the time of recording, this was a no-brainer. Not only for the hundreds of dollars in savings, but also for the flexibility in that you could travel to any part of Japan on a whim without having to pay an additional fare. Let's evaluate the new price of 80,000 yen, around $542, using my 2 weeks in Japan video as a guide. JR Pass calculators are a great tool that you should always use before ordering a pass, and I'll link one in the description and the comments so you can check them out for yourself, and be sure to like the video while you're down there. As we can see from this, we are basically breaking even on the price. It really only makes sense to buy one if you either condense the entire trip down to 7 days or add 2 or 3 more long train journeys into an already tight trip. Buying the JR National Pass is now almost a coin flip on whether it's worth it or not, but there are ways to travel at close to the old prices, which I'll talk about in a moment. First, let's look at who the new JR Pass is now for. The JR Pass's main advantage is the flexibility of being able to take advantage of the all-you-can-ride bullet trains that connect the majority of the country. With the price of a typical bullet train being over $100, this pass can still be used to save money for travelers making multiple return trips to distant regions of Japan. A whirlwind traveler that's crossing Japan from north to south and then back to Tokyo will still find some great savings on this pass. The JR Pass also has a few hidden features, such as being able to use it on the Seto Sunrise Sleeper Express train. Speaking from experience, this train is a lot of fun and a unique way to see the country, provided that you book weeks in advance, as this train is particularly popular. The JR Pass only covers the fare and not the rooms, but I do believe that the basic Nobi seats can be used for free on the pass, so a creative and experienced traveler on the JR Pass can get some real value here. But a typical first-time traveler visiting just the 3 major cities will save almost half of their transport costs by not buying the pass, and for those travelers, it's fine to pay for tickets on the day when you're in Japan. But if your Japanese journey is localized in a certain area, then you might be better served by the lesser-known regional passes. There are dozens of regional passes which can also offer benefits that the JR National Pass does not, such as allowing you to travel on all rail networks in the region, including the private non-JR lines. Going through each of these would take hours, but here are a few that really stand out after the National Pass price increase. The Tokyo-wide pass, previously known as the Kanto Pass, really punches above its weight for 15,000 yen. It provides 3 days of unlimited travel in not only in Tokyo's urban area, but also parts of Nagano, Niigata, Yamanashi, and Shizuoka, including the Shinkansen and 8 JR-operated railways. This pass would be great for someone who's taking a short trip to Tokyo, but also wants to get out of the city for a day or two and perhaps taking a side trip to Kusatsu Onsen or around Mount Fuji and the Fuji 5 Lakes. The Hokkaido Rail Pass can be bought for 5, 7, or 10 days for between 20,000 to 32,000 yen and provides unlimited use of all JR trains except the Shinkansen that links Hokkaido with the mainland. This pass also extends to the JR buses in the region and also allows you to use the reserved seats for free, making this pass great for someone who's keen on exploring Japan's most northern island for a ski trip or experiencing the beautiful national parks of Hokkaido. The East Tohoku Pass can be bought for 30,000 yen and provides 5 days of unlimited travel from the Izu Peninsula all the way up to Aomori, the last stop before Hokkaido. This pass is perfect for a week-long trip exploring eastern and northern Japan, allowing you to switch between the local JR, bullet trains, JR buses, and several of the non-JR operated lines that JR trains run on, such as the Iwate Ginga Railway between Morioka and Aomori. This one sounds particularly handy, as when I was traveling in this area myself, I was confused about this policy and found myself forced to pay an additional fee. In my previous Rail Pass video, I did not recommend the JR West 7-day pass since it was only slightly cheaper than the 1-week national pass. This pass is now incredible value provided your trip is located in Western Japan. The range of this pass can take you from Toyama all the way through Kyoto and Osaka down to Hiroshima and even to the beginning of Kyushu. The only thing missing from this pass is Tokyo. What this really means is that if you're doing a point-to-point trip, which is ending in either Tokyo or Osaka, you can enjoy traveling at close to the price of the original JR pass by simply adding one additional Shinkansen ticket. This actually might be the very best way to travel in Japan from now on. The All Shikoku Pass is another winner after the national price increase. It can be used for between 3 and 7 days and is now 60% cheaper than the national JR Pass. Not only that, it's just the plain best pass in Shikoku because it allows you to transfer between the 8 non-JR networks on this island, making it an absolute steal for anyone visiting this breathtaking and mysterious part of Japan. I was able to travel across Shikoku last summer, and the region has to be one of the most underrated destinations in all of Japan. Be sure to subscribe to my channel to see those future videos for what to do in Shikoku. The Kyushu Rail Pass can be a bit confusing because you can purchase it for either just the south, just the north, or the whole of Kyushu. It's now a flat 50% discount over the JR National Pass, which makes it great value. But the issue with the Kyushu Pass is that most travelers will arrive in either Tokyo or Osaka, so the price of getting to Kyushu and activating the pass may outweigh any savings. The best option here is to use a domestic flight after landing in Japan to fly to Kyushu and start your journey from there. Domestic flights in Japan are usually quite cheap, from between 5,000 to 15,000 yen. There is one other option, which is if you are on a multi-country trip, consider taking the ferry from Busan to Fukuoka instead of flying, because this costs just around $80. There is one more pass I feel I should mention, and that is the JR Seishun Juhachi Kippu, or the Youthful 18 ticket. Now this is a very special ticket for travelers on a budget. It allows you to ride for 5 non-consecutive days on JR trains, not including the Shinkansen, at a cost of 2,410 yen, or around $16 a day, but it can only be used during the spring, summer, and winter. Incredible value can be found on this ticket, as I have used it to travel from the southernmost part of Kyushu to the northern tip of Aomori over 3 days for less than $100. But I already have a video focusing on this ticket, so you can check that out here if that's what you're interested in. Most passes need to be activated before you can use them. For the regional passes, this is of course going to vary, so check their individual information if you decide to pick one up. For the National JR Pass, it's important to make sure that you buy it before entering the country, because first you'll receive a voucher that needs to be presented at an activation point before you can use it. Fortunately, this can be done at any JR office and also at Narita or Haneda Airport. And this is what I would recommend you do as the first thing after clearing immigration from your flight. From the day that you activate your pass is when the period of use is valid. For example, if you arrive on Japan on June 1st at 1 p.m. and activate it on the same day as a 2-week pass, it will be valid between June 1st and June 14th at midnight. The departure time of the train is what matters here. If you take a train on June 14th before midnight and arrive at 1 a.m. the next day, you will still be covered by your pass. You are also allowed to choose the date of activation for up to 30 days after you exchange the voucher. So, if you are planning, say, a 2-week trip with 1 week in Tokyo and the second week traveling all across Japan using the expensive bullet trains, it might be better value for you to buy a 1-week pass that will activate 7 days after you exchange your voucher. If you choose this method, however, please remember that the dates can only be used consecutively, and once it has been activated, the dates cannot be changed. In previous years, the JR Pass was a small booklet that needed to be presented to the ticket masters to pass through the gates, but this has been replaced by an actual ticket that can be used in the automatic machines, which is much faster and more convenient, but cannot be used on the IC card exclusive gates. And also you should remember to pick up the ticket on the other side of the gate, or you'll have made a very expensive mistake. You are also allowed to use any of the unreserved seats on the Shinkansen with the JR Pass, which is what I tend to do. But since you are paying for it, you can also reserve the more expensive seats to ensure that you can sit where you like. You can reserve these seats online or do so at the Green Window Ticket Office. You can also purchase the Premium JR Pass to use the first class green seats, which are approximately 40% more expensive. These I do not recommend because they are only slightly more comfortable than the regular seats and provide no additional benefit, but the option is always there. If you do reserve a seat, you will receive a ticket to show this, but you do not need to put the seat ticket in the machine, just the JR Pass. For navigation apps while in Japan, there used to be a very helpful one called Hyperdia, which has been changed in such a way that it is now useless, so I mostly use Google Maps to get around. I have been told that Apple Maps is good too, but I've just never tried them. However, there is one app that I actually really recommend, which is called NaviTime. While on the JR Pass, the fastest Shinkansen, the Nozomi and Mizuho, cannot be used on the pass, which is fine, but they do not show up as a filter on many map apps, which can make things a touch confusing. NaviTime, however, allows you to select the rail pass as a filter and it will update accordingly, making it incredibly useful, and the app is also free. For travelers with children, anyone aged 12 years or older will pay an adult fare for trains in Japan. Children between the age of 6 and 11 may use a child pass for 50% of the adult fare. Young children up to 5 years old in Japan can travel for free, provided they sit in your lap. However, if they would like to sit in a seat, then they will need to pay for a child's fare. And one adult may travel with up to 2 children using this system. So, for example, 2 parents could bring 4 children under the age of 5 for free, but a 5th child would require buying an additional child's fare. The various passes can also be combined for further discounts if your travel plans are well researched and you activate them correctly. Just make sure you don't activate them all on the same day, as the rules are very strict when it comes to rail passes. In one of my previous videos, I mentioned the new luggage rule for the Shinkansen for oversized bags, the general rule being that if the sum of the height, weight, and length adds up to less than 160 centimeters, you do not need to reserve your bags. Luggage that adds up to between 160 or 250 require prior reservation or an 1,000 yen fine, and luggage that is over 250 centimeters combined cannot be brought at all. There are luggage services across Japan that you can use to ship these bags, and there has also been some new clarification on this rule that it does not apply to sporting equipment, musical instruments, and strollers. But if you wish to store them in the oversized baggaged area, please still make a reservation. I know this is going to make a lot of winter sports travelers to Japan very happy, as this was somewhat in question for skis and snowboards, but don't worry. In fact, certain Shinkansen that service snowy regions have a dedicated compartment for this winter equipment. Also, after living with this rule for over a year, I've noticed that the train attendants are quite forgiving when it comes to these rules, so do your best to make the proper reservations, but honestly, you'll most likely be fine either way. Now that you know all that you need to on the new rules of Japan's rail passes, it's time to put them to use and explore everything Japan has to offer, and for that, I recommend you check out Toba. Just 2 hours away from Osaka, this amazing seaside town, which has some of the best freshly caught seafood in the country, caught by the legendary female armor divers who you can even meet on your trip to Toba. But to find out how, you're going to have to check out this video here, and I'll see you back in Japan very soon.